Hello together, warm regards from Berlin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Next Gen Eco TV show, a place where we unravel innovations, technologies, and how they form a more just and sustainable future. Within the Next Gen Eco TV show, we have the honor of having amazing guests over here who are actually movers and shakers behind innovations which are forming our world. We are very excited to have our dear Raymond Q over here. Raymond, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Hello,
Awesome.
everyone.
Great having you here, Raymond. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Vancouver, Canada.
That's great. We are very happy that you took your time. It was great meeting you in Davos. Very happy that we can schedule now the recording of the session. You have accomplished amazing things, and we are very happy to dive into that, to extract some knowledge for our listeners, and to follow your path forming the future. But before we dive into the questions, let me give a shout out to our dear co-host Kim Dinze. Hello, Kim.
Hi, thank you, Amir. It's a pleasure to have a guest today here with us who's really an expert in finance over 20 years. So I'm especially curious also what our AI agent Olisa has come up with some hot questions for you today. And let's see.
Thanks a lot, Kim, and thanks a lot, Raymond. We are super excited. Raymond, let's kick it off with a question which actually you perhaps ask a lot of people, namely asking for an elevator pitch. Let's turn around the tables and give you the chance to give us a spotlight on what is the most interesting to you and what would you like to pitch?
Well, I think as of today, the world changed so much and technology changed a lot of things in a much big, quick speed and big changes. So in the past, probably they take 10 years or even longer to change something, but now probably it's only a few months. So that's something I'm very interested in any new technology, and I try to understand how and why the world will be changed.
Thanks a lot, dear Raymond. And you are an entrepreneur looking for its kind, and we would love to understand a little bit about who the person is behind Raymond Q. You have founded companies such as GeoSwift, which are processing payments in the billions and billions. You have evolved into the Web3 space where you're disrupting different payment models. I know that you're also very broadly active, from real estate to art to fashion to lifestyle. So I'm very, very glad to have such a experience-rich person over here sharing knowledge with us. So Raymond, tell me a little bit about who you are and tell us what made you choose the path you are going through.
Yeah, thank you. As you mentioned, because I'm interested in so many things, so it's not easy to describe who I am. But I always try to talk to with the young generation and to share my story. In my early days, I started my career as an investment banker, which is very traditional and very boring bit work. Every day you just touch a different project, talk to the different people, and try to make a decision if you want to invest or not. After that, I have a good chance to be an entrepreneur. So I started a cross-border payments company in Vancouver. Then we expand to UK, to US, Hong Kong, and mainland China. And from there, I realized what's the big difference from the investment and the entrepreneur is so different. After that, after running the business for so many years, I always look into something new in the market. So I'm the early investor of crypto, and also I look into the AI or some new things in the market. I can share more details after, but so far all the business philosophy never changed. First of all, I always keep the big passion to anything I don't know. I'm willing to learn. It doesn't matter in my teenage or even I'm over 50 now, I still want to learn something new. And secondly, I want to create some value to the world. It's not just making money, but to bring some real value to the people.
Thanks a lot, Raymond. So this is very exciting, and I think understanding the motivation of an entrepreneur is something very important. And I think it's beautiful that you're able to mix the views from an investor perspective. We had different talks, specifically in Davos, where you were explaining what important cornerstones you have to keep in mind when investing. But on the other stand also the entrepreneur and what he's looking for. Maybe to unravel a little bit more your journey, are there any key moments in your life which made you want to go into the entrepreneurship? Any special signal the viewers should look out for, understanding a calling to become an entrepreneur?
Well, if you're talking about the key moment, I think there are a few key moments in my life, but there is some common area which is always happened in the process. I started my first big project in 1998. It was a big finance process in those days. And in 2008, there's another big day for me, but that's everyone knows in 2008, that's another big crisis. The reason I'm mentioning that because every time if there's a crisis, a lot of people think it's a big risk. It's not good things. However, there's also an opportunity here because in those days, people need to realize in the bad days, a lot of good asset was undervalued. Actually, it's a good time for investment. So I always tell myself in the bad days, don't be so upset. Don't be afraid of the crisis. Actually, if you look into the whole world, there are a lot of opportunity there, but you should have that capability to catch it. So I make a joke to many people. I think the success of my career so far, I always say it's luck. It's just a good luck. But what's the definition of the luck? Is everyone I think in the world they always have some opportunity to fall into around you. Luck actually meaning you have that capability to get that opportunity. That become a luck. That becomes success. So if you don't have that capability, probably the opportunity is there, but you cannot get it. Or even you didn't realize there's an opportunity around you. So that's something I always tell the young people, be ready. So you need to keep learning. You need to keep you ready. If something happened, if some opportunity is around you, then you have that the full status and try to get it, and then become a luck, and then you can be enjoy your journey in the success.
Thanks a lot, dear Raymond. So the mindset is something which you describe as very important, being open to learn, being open to adapt, and actually seeing opportunities where other people see challenges. Thanks a lot for highlighting those points. Dear Raymond, we would love to, after understanding a little bit where your history is, where you come from, what your mindset is, it would be great to understand a bit more the industries where you can share us some knowledge, where you see something maybe disruptive happening. So very, very happy to understand what industries are of interest to you and where you see the greatest importance to share with our viewers what's going on in those industries.
Yeah, thank you. So industry I'm in actually is a fintech, we say, but in the early days it's not. So I remember when I started my entrepreneur to start my own business, those days it just the internet, it just show up. So I realized if there's the internet, definitely they need internet payment because if there is a transaction, definitely they need to move money. So that's something I realized it's a huge opportunity. So I started my first business as an internet payment, which become online payment, and then become a cross-border payments because you need to move the money more efficiently between the countries. The same a few years ago, I realized if there's a blockchain, if there's a crypto, we need the crypto payments, right? So that's how I started. So the first company I built is the GeoSwift. So today, as I mentioned, we have the offices in many cities in the world. We have hundreds of employees who are working very hard every day. And we help Amazon, Apple, Union, Uber, a lot of tier one clients, they are using our services because we got that opportunity in the early days. The same for the crypto world. Today, even a lot of people still very negative to the crypto, but that's the future. The blockchain technology itself have the huge impact on the business side. So there are a lot of interesting stuff are happening. So I started another business, AirSwift. So we do the crypto payments, and we try to do something different from any other players. So that's the core business I'm running today in the fintech area. But meanwhile, as I'm an investor, and I'm very interested in many other stuff like media, digital media, the fiction, and AI, for example. So I always keep my mind in a young generation mode. So I'm very willing to talk to the young generation. I learn from them because there's a lot of crazy or so smart ideas from the young people, which we even cannot think about it. So that's the beauty of this world. The world is moving because of the generation by generation. The young people always so creative and so smart, and they can create something which have huge value to this world. And in our age, I think when I was young, I got a lot of helps from the people who are smarter than me or older than me. But now, into my position like today, I think it is my role to help or to learn from the young generation to make this world better.
Love you, Raymond. Those are great contributions and a lot of excitement in the space of payment, essentially the central point of exchange of value. So thanks a lot for your contributions over there. I think when we listen to different entrepreneurs who explain that they are striving to bring value into the market, that's through product and services which are useful. And naming the clients you just mentioned, I think you helped a lot of people with a lot of important points at the critical space. So thanks a lot for that. Raymond, would you like to explain us a little bit more into detail what Polyflow is about? So you've created disruptions and are creating disruptions of the disruptions. So I think our viewers would be curious to hear about Polyflow and how that fits into the equation.
Great. Yeah, the Polyflow is a new project we launched 2 years ago. Right now, we got the endorsement from many big players in the market like Stella, Solana, and the Crowns and Ripple. There are so many companies they are working together to make the crypto more cost efficient. So what we do actually is infrastructure. So to make that topic easier to understand, I want to describe how the banking system works in the traditional financial market. So for the banking industry, there always the information flow and the funds flow. So information flow was done through the SWIFT. So I think a lot of people heard about the SWIFT code. So that's a wire transfer. So SWIFT actually is for information exchange only. Anyone who have a SWIFT code, then you can work with other banks to exchange the information. The funds flow, it works like this. So for example, if I'm Bank of America, Wells Fargo, so every day, so I give you 10,000 transactions, you give me 5,000 transactions, I need to pay you 8 million, you need to pay me 5 million. Instead of do the single transactions one by one, so we don't need to pay you 8 and 5, we just give you the difference of 3 million, right? So that's very easy for people to understand. But not many people know, even that 3 million, I don't have to pay you because I just pay you the overnight interest. I just pay you interest because the next day, probably it's your turn to pay me something, right? So if you look into the foundation of the money movement, most of them don't move at all. But the sender, the entrepreneurs or the business or the individuals, you don't know. So you just call your bank and say, hey, I did a wire transfer. Where's my money? Money is in Berlin, is in some middle bank, and you will get it the next day, blah, blah, blah. It's just the information exchange. The money itself don't move. So that's become a very efficient way to move money in a very low cost. However, if you look into crypto world today, it's still a single transaction. So it's from A to B, point to point. So today, the volume is less than 1% of the total the financial market, but still it's very slow. Every transaction, it takes about a few minutes to be completed, which is ridiculous. So that's something we need to change. So that's why we built the Polyflow. which have two parts. One part is information flow, and a part is fund flow. So that's what we are doing today.
Thanks a lot, Raymond. I think this is like a lot of gold nuggets you shared over here, allowing us to understand how the world actually works today and where we have to move towards too. So like I had the pleasure of understanding blockchain technology as one tool to harmonize information, payment, and asset flow. So actually you're bringing that to life in a very critical infrastructure, namely in the banking world. I'll share one more thought over here from a guest we had, namely our dear Yatsu from Animoca Brands. And when we asked him what is like the most interesting for him on the blockchain side is actually understanding how deeply it's integrated with finance. So I think you're like a few levels deeper coming from the fintech world and leveraging the blockchain world. But yeah, thanks a lot for sharing over here. And I had my chance of learning and understanding this from you. So I hope our guests will enjoy this as well. As we continue, Raymond, we would love to understand two things. On the one hand, now we're moving more onto the investor perspective. On the one hand, what is most exciting to you, maybe within your portfolio? Maybe there's something you would like to highlight and share. We would love to learn about that. And in the second part, we would love to understand, how do you invest? What is important for you as an investor to make a decision? So the future entrepreneurs who are listening to this will have a good understanding of how to think also from the other side.
Okay, yeah. The first question, the most exciting moment, as I mentioned before, I always try to learn some new things. I try to make something happen using that technology. So the Polyflow, for example, the new project I'm launching, that's not just simple crypto payments. It's not just simple to help people to move money through the crypto. Instead, it's infrastructure. So we try to increase the efficiency of the whole crypto world and make everyone to benefit from there. So that's something I'm working very hard now. And the second question, as an investor in another position, I think right now a lot of young entrepreneur, they try to get investment from the investor, but they need to understand the investment itself have the different stage. So some people, they are investing in the early stage as an angel investor or venture capital. Some people, they are investing in the late stage, like PE or the institution investors. So the first thing they need to understand what kind of investor they are talking to. I see a lot of young people, they're very so excited that I will see an investor, I will have a meeting with investor, and they were so excited. But you need to meet the right investor at the right stage. So if you are in the early days, you don't have to meet the investment from the late stage, because they won't invest into you because you're too small. But if you are in the late stage, you don't have to waste your time to talk to the early investor because you are too big for them to invest. There's something, the logic behind that. I don't think any investor who would do from early days into the last stage, not many. So that's something I want to share with you. And also as an investor, we are not just looking to the project itself, we are also looking to the people. In some scenario, in my case, I think the people is more important than the project. So if as an entrepreneur, if you start to talk to the investors, you need to present not just the project itself, but also your personality, yourself, and your team.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. So yeah, we are very excited to see the future of Polyflow. And I think you made a very important note on understanding the different types of investors, and then also understanding that perhaps team is very important, specifically for early stage investments. Thanks a lot for sharing that. So we will soon come to our very fun part, namely where the AI will be asking some questions through our dear CMO, Kim Dinser of Highledger. Before we do that, I have one last question to you, Ray. Looking at the future of Web3, of AI, different trends taking place, what is most exciting to you? Would love to have your outlook on the future.
First of all, I'm very, very positive to this new technology, the crypto, the blockchain, and also the AI technology. I'm very, very positive to this. The reason is, it's very funny why people create so many new technology, because people are lazy. Because we want to have a rest. and let some machine or let some other stuff to help us. The blockchain and AI is perfectly a good example how the technology can increase the efficiency of many things and make the people to be relaxed from the heavy works. So I think so far these two technologies are still in their early days. We still need to contribute a lot to improve it and to make it more useful to our daily life.
Understood. Thanks a lot. No, we are very excited about what the future brings. We'll soon have all robots working with us, so we'll even have physical support, automating different works, not only on the software level. Thanks a lot, Raymond, for sharing your outlook on the future. I would hand over to our dear Kim Dinze. Kim, hope you had like some interesting learnings over here as well, and we're super excited to hear about the AI and what it has for us here.
100%. It was so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. And actually, the AI agent has really good questions prepared on what you said at the beginning. But first, let us start with the first question, which is related to your investing experience. Olisa asked, when you're investing in a new platform or project, what's more impressive? The vision, the tech, or how they handle accountability?
Yes, I think already replied in the early days, I'm a lot more into the people. That's always the first thing. Why I say that? Because the entrepreneur or the people we invest is so important, so important. We see so many good projects. The concept itself, no problem. However, because the management team that don't have experience, either they manage the money or they don't have the good expertise to manage people, and the whole project died. So that's why we always think people is the first asset we look into. But secondly, for the technology itself, money, very important. So in some technology, they're super powerful, super great. However, if you show up in the very early days, probably that's not the good timing for investment. There's no right answer to these questions. I missed a lot of good projects in the past as well. And also I made a lot of mistakes as well. Some projects died, as I mentioned. So I don't think there's any right answer to this. But as always, there are two key things here. First of all is the people. And secondly is the project itself. You need to solve some real problem instead of just the technology itself.
Thank you so much. That's really an overall overview on a good investor perspective on choosing the right project. Now let's zoom out a little bit. You talked about the younger generation and that they're inspiring you. What's one thing you think the Gen Z generation, for example, will demand from finance that no one's preparing for them yet?
Well, that's a hard question because the generation, for example, they're very interesting group of people, and because they're super smart than us. Okay, because in our age we learn the knowledge from the books, from the teachers, from the schools. But now the young generation actually they learn from the internet. They have so many teachers. They have so many of the different knowledge they can learn. And so that's why you have no idea how smart they are. So a few days ago, actually, I went to the science fair in Vancouver, which is a big event in Canada and also in US. There are hundreds of projects launched by the high school students. I was there. I was shocked, to be honest. I didn't realize the high school kids are so creative, and there's some project I even don't understand what they're talking about. But that's meaning the knowledge itself is not just in the books; it's the internet. And for the people who have the full passion to that, they are learning much quicker than us. So it's not just like because I'm older or have the experience, then I can tell some people to do something. Instead, I keep saying I'm learning from the young generation because in today's world, it's more like a young generation present their knowledge, their capability, and then they start to teach us what will be. Our role become a supporter. If you understand or you don't understand, it doesn't matter. But if young generation needs some help, you just do something for them instead of try to teach them.
Love the answer. So it's a never ending with learning, and everyone can learn from each other and supporting. Love it. Thank you.
Awesome. So we had our AI questions being placed. I think they were quite nice, very thought-provoking to the end. Maybe before we close up, I would love to ask you like one more question, namely, whom would you like to see on this TV show when we inspire the masses to understand technology, innovation? Is there any specific speaker, any like mover or shaker in the blockchain world or in the AI world you think should be on this TV show? Maybe even portfolio companies or fellow investors who you think would be great to have on the show?
Well, I have so many friends who have the rich experience in both in crypto and in AI. They're super smart. But if I'm thinking who I will interesting to learn from him in this TV show, probably a young people from Dubai. I'm not sure but he's so busy right now. He's so famous now. I'm not sure if he have time to do it, but his name is Mario Neto, who is the number one in the Twitter space. And I'm not saying he's an influencer anymore, but today it's more like an entrepreneur. He managed a team of over 200 people, and his live show is so successful. Elon Musk and a lot of well-known people show up in his Twitter space, and also he's very active in the investment as well. So let's see if he will join us and to share his thoughts on this. He's very young, by the way. He's very young, so he's a very typical success model of the young people through the live show, through the media, not the traditional media, but the new in the market, and how to influence his fans or the other people and try to change this world.
That's I think a great example. He's definitely an inspiration for Web3, but much bigger than that. There was a great development. I also had the chance of following from the sidelines and from Twitter on the phone. So yeah, that would be definitely a great person to have on board. Dear Raymond, how can we and how can the community be part of what you're doing? I know that people can go onto Polyflow now and can scan to earn. So it'll be very fast for them to engage and actually be part of what you're building. But yeah, maybe you have a last shout out to the folks of how they can engage with you and how one can support you on the great things you're building.
Well, if we build something and that have some value to the people, to the market, definitely we welcome all the users, all the customers to test our offering, our product in the market. And we are love to get the feedback and try to improve our offering or our product. However, the last thing is super important for anyone who are show up in this TV show, which is always this world is more like people help each other. So as I mentioned, if I try to teach someone else, definitely I will learn from him as well or her. And for the product itself, the same. If we try to help other people, we offer some product in the market, but that's something we need some help as well. So it's always, I love the community or the whole world become a very peaceful way and people help each other and grow together and make this world better.
Beautiful ending words, Raymond. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for being over here and sharing your story and your wisdom. We are very much looking forward to follow what the future brings for GeoSwift, for Polyflow, and for you in person. Thanks a lot, dear Raymond.
Thank you so much.